And he continued to suggest that a Pacquiao-Mario Barrios welterweight title fight was possible. Bob Santos, the trainer for Mario Barrios, has said recently that he believes
36-year-old Manny Pacquiao coming out of retirement to face 29-year-old Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight championship on July 19th in Las Vegas. That's according to an ESPN report. Pacquiao last fought in 2021 when he lost to Yordenis Ugas. Barrios won the WBC welterweight title from Ugas in 2023.
Two big questions have the boxing world buzzing. First, should Manny Pacquiao really be making a comeback? And second, does he stand a real chance against Mario Barrios?
As of now, Mario Barrios is the WBC champion, so who is he mandated to fight next? Do you have made that decision yet?
Well, at this time, Mario Barrios is going to fight Manny Pacquiao in July. That's a tremendous fight. It was released, PBC. Manny Pacquiao first title was flyweight WBC, and he wants to retire as WBC champion, so he's fighting in the welterweight division.
This isn't just another return, it's a full-blown event. Pacquiao, the former Storm who conquered 8 divisions, is now a 45-year-old icon aiming for one last moment in the spotlight.
Manny Pacquiao getting back in the ring again for a world title fight.
Well, obviously, it definitely has to do with money, one. Two, I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring against Ugas. You know, he didn't look good.
On the other side, Barrios is young, hungry, and building serious momentum, and he has no intention of being a stepping stone for anyone. This clash goes beyond titles and punches. It's a battle of pride, legacy, and the ultimate question, can time be beaten in the boxing world?
Who is not so happily retired, seems to still be antsy about fighting. I was at the Andy Ruiz workout in LA this past week, and Sean Gibbons was there representing Isa Cruz and part of that contingent.
Manny Pacquiao's return feels like something straight out of a boxing movie, except this isn't fiction, it's reality. After stepping away from the sport in 2021 following a tough loss to Yordenis Ugas, most believed we'd seen the last of the Pac-Man in the ring. But here he is again, gloves up and eyes locked on Mario Barrios and the WBC welterweight title. His last performance showed signs of age, slower movements. Less of that trademark explosiveness, a far cry from the force that once overwhelmed the sport's biggest names. But legends aren't made by listening to the critics, are they? As for Barrios, he's not stepping into the ring to be part of anyone's retirement story. He's young, hungry, and dangerous, armed with a crisp jab and the confidence that comes from being battle-tested. While Pacquiao was focused on politics and life outside the ring, Barrios was putting in the work, training relentlessly, staying active, and leveling up fight after fight. That it's the classic showdown. The seasoned warrior versus the rising threat. But this time, the question looms large: does the old lion still have enough left to roar?
Has said recently that he believes it was going to happen. What do you think of your old foil there, Manny Pacquiao, getting back in the ring again for a world title fight?
Well, obviously, you know, it has to be pertaining to any kind of money. You know, it has to be financial. I mean, any fighter that comes back, especially from retirement, a guy like Manny Pacquiao, it definitely has to do with money.
Eddie Hearn, a veteran in the boxing business, didn't sugarcoat his take. He said Pacquiao might still handle fighters outside the top 20, which, let's be honest, is like saying your grandpa can still drive, just not on the highway. That's exactly why this fight is stirring debate. Pacquiao isn't stepping in with a washed-up has-been, he's going toe-to-toe with a legitimate champion, someone who's been active, tested, and dangerous. Fans are split. Some are fired up like it's 2008 again, dusting off old posters and reliving the glory days. Others are bracing themselves, fearing this comeback could end with more concern than celebration. And who can blame them? Pacquiao's entire career has been about beating the odds. But now, the punches sting more, the legs don't move like they used to, and bouncing back isn't about catching your breath, it's about recovering for days, not minutes.
62 8-2 with 39 knockouts. Barrios 29 2-1. And for more, welcome in CBS Sports combat analyst Brian Campbell. Manny Pacquiao, the first and only 8-division world champion. He'll be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame next month. And then in July, BC is going to come out of retirement. Why now?
By the way, between those two dates, I believe he has an election coming up for a Senate position in the Philippines. So we always know that Mandy.
And yet, here we are staring down a fight that feels like a clash of generations, a crossover between two distinct boxing timelines. For Barrios, it's a win-win situation. A victory sends his name into the headlines, and even in defeat, he gets to say he shared the ring with a global icon, which is still a publicity goldmine. But for Pacquiao, the stakes couldn't be higher. Every punch he takes is a test of time, each round another chapter that could either cement his legacy or tarnish it. A single bad moment could undo years of greatness. Voices from around the boxing world have weighed in, and let's just say, not everyone's offering a standing ovation. Trainer Greg Hackett didn't hold back, bluntly labeling the matchup as a money move. In his view, this isn't about glory, it's about the bottom line. The timing, the opponent, the marketing buzz, it all screams business before legacy. But let's be honest, when has boxing ever been just about the sport? Promoters are drooling over projected pay-per-view numbers, and fans across the globe are tuning in. Hackett also framed the fight as a smart, calculated step. If Pacquiao truly wanted to go out swinging wildly, he'd be calling out the likes of Terence Crawford or Jaron Boots Ennis. Instead, Barrios is a measured gamble, skilled and dangerous, but not overwhelmingly so. It's the perfect balance. Risky enough to matter, but not so perilous it becomes a disaster. Just enough threat to draw crowds. Just enough hope to fuel one last run.
I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring, man, against Ugas. You know, he didn't look good. He was outmatched by, a fighter, a younger fighter. Barrios is no slouch. Barrios is a young fighter, bigger fighter, knows how to, control distance very well, can punch a little bit. Like, he's no easy task for anybody in the welterweight division. And for Manny to come back after this long and to face a young guy like that is dangerous.
Tim Bradley added his voice to the growing wave of skepticism. He, too, questioned the motive behind Pacquiao's return, suggesting it's driven more by financial incentive than the pursuit of glory. And let's be real, when a retired legend skips the tune-up fights and is dropped straight into a title bout, it raises eyebrows. Who else gets that kind of red carpet unless there's serious money behind the curtain? Barrios sees the setup for what it is, a golden opportunity served on a silver platter. But he's not showing up to admire the throne. He's there to seize it. Every interview he gives, every round of sparring, every drop of sweat, it all points to one mission. Not just to defeat Pacquiao, but to do it in a way that makes the world take notice. Meanwhile, Pacquiao stands at a dangerous crossroads somewhere between rewriting history and becoming a cautionary tale. If he pulls off the win, it's storybook stuff. A new title, another standing ovation, one more gem added to his already legendary career. But if he loses, especially if it's not close, the fallout could be brutal. A decision loss might be forgivable. A knockout? That could be the kind of ending that echoes for years. Because in boxing, fans remember everything, and forgiveness is in short supply.
Sports combat analyst Brian Campbell. Manny Pacquiao, the first and only 8-division world champion. He'll be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame next month. And then in July, BC is going to come out of retirement. Why now?
By the way, between those two dates, I believe he has an election coming up for a Senate position in the Philippines. So we always know that Manny is a busy man. He gets after it. He also dares to be great. And
what makes this matchup so compelling and so divisive is that it's about more than just two names on a fight poster. Barrios represents the new era, calculated, technical, and built by modern training science. Pacquiao, on the other hand, is pure throwback, all instinct, grit, and hand speed born from relentless hustle. This isn't just a battle of age, it's a collision of boxing philosophies. One is on the rise, the other refusing to step aside. And here's the twist that boxing insiders can't ignore even now. With age creeping in and wear and tear setting in, Pacquiao's unpredictable style remains a problem. He moves in ways that defy logic. He throws punches from odd angles, breaks rhythm, and disrupts timing, all the things that make fundamentally sound fighters uncomfortable. Ask Keith Thurman what it's like to underestimate an over-the-hill Pacquiao, spoiler alert. He found himself on the canvas in 2019, but that was 6 years ago. In boxing terms, that's an eternity. Time doesn't just pass, it punishes. Every layoff adds miles to a fighter's durability. Every skipped session makes the comeback steeper. While Barrios has been sharpening his tools in the gym, Pacquiao has been at podiums, not punching bags. The ring has no sympathy for rust. Yet, there's something different about legends. They carry a presence, an edge that you can't measure in stats or tape. No one steps in with Pacquiao expecting an easy night. Sometimes that legend fades quietly. Other times, it roars back without warning. That's what Barrios is up against, the unknown. He'll have to fight a flawless fight. No mistakes, no showboating, no assumptions. Because if Pacquiao finds a clean shot early, the whole narrative could flip in seconds.
This is wild news. Look, in the boxing underground rumor mill, this had been floating around for a couple months. We just didn't know if it was going to be for real. Was Manny really going to commit to not just coming back after 4 years away, after just one fight in the last 6 years, at age 46, but to come back directly into a title fight against a young, in his prime, active champion in Mario Barrios?
And just like that, the media frenzy has kicked into overdrive. Pundits, podcast hosts, and retired champs who haven't laced up gloves since the flip phone era are crawling out with takes hotter than a fresh hand wrap. It's all Pacquiao this, Barrios that, and the debate has turned into a wildfire of hot opinions. Some claim Manny's still got the hand speed of a hummingbird on an energy drink, while others suggest he'd lose a sprint to a limping turtle. But this isn't just about who wins, it's about what the fight means. Is boxing still a pure battleground for the young and hungry? Or has it become a nostalgia-fueled spectacle, dressed up as elite competition and sold one pay-per-view at a time? You can almost hear the old-school voices grumbling. Back in our day, the fights sold themselves, no drama needed. But let's be honest, boxing has always had a flair for the theatrical. And this matchup? It's pure theater. It's part Shakespeare, part sports, with gloves. A comeback story so improbable, you half expect to see Sylvester Stallone shadowboxing in the background. Meanwhile, Vegas is already lighting up. The casinos are buzzing. The stars are booking front row seats, even the ones who couldn't tell a jab from a juice cleanse. And that's exactly what makes boxing magic. It's never just about punches. It's a performance. And when Manny Pacquiao's name is on the marquee, it's still a headline event like Elvis walking into open mic night. You don't need the stats. The legend sells itself.
But again, what they say, the last thing that leaves is the power. If Manny got any of that power still left in him, if he lands that left hand, he can hurt the young gun. So, but that's easier said than done.
Yeah, I actually think he can beat Barrios. Like, maybe it's recency bias. I saw that fight. That Barrios Fabian Maidana fight that was on the Canelo undercard. Yeah. I wasn't all that impressed.
Meanwhile, Barrios steps into this fight with ice in his veins. He's not here for nostalgia or to be part of some storybook ending. He's here to win, plain and simple. Young, focused, and laser-locked on the prize, Barrios isn't playing the part of a respectful understudy. He's the spoiler, and he plays that role with ruthless intent. For him, this isn't about legacy. It's about leveling up. Beating Pacquiao doesn't just earn a belt, it earns respect, spotlight, and a fast-track ticket to boxing's biggest stages. But it's Pacquiao's sheer boldness that keeps the world watching. While most legends his age are riding into the sunset with sponsorships and soft interviews, Manny's lacing up the gloves again, shaking off the rust, and stepping into the fire against a man who was still in grade school when Pacquiao claimed his first world title. That kind of audacity, it's part madness, part magic, and it's what makes boxing unforgettable. Still, under the bright lights and roaring fans lies an uneasy tension. Pacquiao's greatness was built on speed, angles, and relentless pressure. But now, the reactions are just a hair slower. The leg's a bit heavier. The ring doesn't forgive time. The spirit might still be 25, but the body isn't. And Barrios isn't coming in for a handshake. He's coming to make a statement, to throw hands, not compliments. That's the part fans are struggling with. There's a very real chance this comeback doesn't end in confetti, but in consequences. And no matter how many memories Pacquiao gave the sport, boxing never guarantees a happy ending.
To say the least, it's a pay-per-view main event, reportedly for July 19th. And we know Manny Pacquiao has always brought big business, but now he's going to bring it in more of the late career George Foreman type of way to etch himself into that record book even further. Can Manny do it? I mean, look, the odds are certainly against him.
And then there are the conspiracy theorists. Oh, they're out in full force, armed with charts, hot takes, and Reddit threads 10 pages long. Some are convinced the WBC is orchestrating a headline-grabbing distraction, a flashy sideshow designed to cover deeper moves behind the scenes. Maybe Barrios was handpicked flashy enough to draw eyes, but just vulnerable enough to keep hope alive for the legend. Others say Pacquiao's return is just the opening chapter, the warm-up act before a full-blown comeback tour. Maybe it's all building toward one last blockbuster bout with whoever's still holding gold and walking upright. Because, let's face it, boxing has always been equal parts sport and soap opera. The online world is ablaze with speculation. Some claim this fight is really about politics, a prelude to another campaign trail for Pacquiao. Others think it's a business move, setting the stage for one final mega payday against someone like Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence Jr. And then there's the internet's favorite theory that this whole fight is secretly a documentary in disguise, with Barrios playing the unwilling co-star. Welcome to modern boxing, where every jab might double as content, and don't forget the training clips. One 20-second video of Pacquiao hitting mitts was all it took to send the internet into a frenzy. "He's still got it," they shouted, as if a flurry of punches in a gym could stop the clock. Never mind biology. Never mind recovery times or aging reflexes. Manny lands a 5-punch combo, and suddenly, the myth is reborn. But here's the truth. Myths don't punch back. And while Pacquiao's highlights will live forever, the only thing moving faster than his hands right now might just be the doubts swirling around him.
But there's one thing about certain legends in this game. Think Bernard Hopkins, who fought into a very late age. Some of them, as long as they can physically get themselves into that ring, sometimes they can reproduce magic for one night. So it's a romantic situation. I got cats walking around.
Yep.
People are excited to see the Pac-Man back. You just got to kind of figure out, is this for real? Is he going to be for real? Or are we going to send him into a physical, violent retirement?
Yeah, Reggie's a big Manny Pacquiao fan. He loves him because he knows about Father Time, because Father Time is...
As for Barrios, he's been quiet. Maybe a little too quiet. Some call it laser focus, others whisper it's nerves. Is he locked away in some gritty gym, hammering the heavy bag in silence? Or is he tossing and turning at night, haunted by the fact he's not just fighting a man, but a living legend? One thing's for sure, he knows this isn't just another match. This is a moment that could define or derail his entire career. This isn't just about punches and game plans. It's about handling pressure, legacy, and walking into the storm without blinking. And if boxing history teaches us anything, it's that the ring doesn't care how many wins you've stacked. Legends don't always go out on top. For every George Foreman miracle, there's a Roy Jones Jr. warning sign. That's the risk Pacquiao is taking, rolling the dice at 45 against a fighter with fresh legs and nothing to lose. And the fans? They're split. Half are cheering with their hearts, rooting for one more miracle. The other half are bracing themselves, afraid this ends not in triumph, but in tragedy. And yet, maybe that's the beauty of it. Manny's story has never followed the safe route. From humble beginnings in the Philippines to global superstardom and even a shot at the presidency, he's never taken the easy road. So maybe this is just one more act of defiance, one more swing at the impossible. One last time to test whether willpower and memory can outrun the ticking clock. And maybe, just maybe, that's all he needs.
Right, we got him at 10-0, and that's a blessing in and of itself. 10-0, 8 knockouts. Just signed that nice deal with Turkey as the ring ambassador. So we're well on our way, and tonight's another step in the right direction, and we got to take care of business tonight.
So we're going to be seeing him on some ring cards in the future.
Oh, definitely. But we got to take care of business tonight. You know, you can't catch the chickens before they're hatched. So we got to take care of business tonight. And this is heavyweights, and we all know with heavyweights, one punch can change anything.
Even if Barrios comes out on top, it's not a clean win, it's a tightrope act. If he dominates too much, he becomes the guy who brutalized a beloved icon. But if he slips up and loses, he's the rising star who got outsmarted by a 46-year-old legend. It's a public relations minefield, with no perfect path, only risks. And that, ironically, is exactly what makes this fight impossible to ignore. Manny Pacquiao doesn't need to prove anything. His legacy is already carved into stone. He's not fighting for history, he is history. He's fighting because that's what fighters do. It's not about logic. It's about instinct. About chasing a feeling that never really dies. That whisper in the back of the mind that says, you've still got something left. Maybe it's false hope. Or maybe it's the last flicker of greatness refusing to burn out quietly. Either way, when the lights come on and the first bell rings, the world will be watching. Pundits will analyze, coaches will watch through narrowed eyes, and fans, well, they'll be right on the edge of their seats. Some are hoping for magic, others for closure. A few just want to witness what happens when age tries to dodge inevitability just one more time. And sure, Manny's reflexes might be slower. His chin might not be iron anymore. But that name Pacquiao, it still hits harder than most fists in the game.
For anybody in the welterweight division, and for Manny to come back after this long and to face a young guy like that is dangerous. And sometimes, these old legends, they got to get beat up several times before they call it quits. That Ugas fight, I don't know if it was enough for Pacquiao. That's why he's coming back. But Barrios, he can finish Pacquiao. There's a possibility that he can finish Pacquiao and basically cause him to go back into retirement once again.
This isn't just another fight, it's a moment. A cultural flashpoint. A reminder that in boxing, nothing ever really ends. Fighters hang up the gloves, but their presence lingers in gyms, in highlight reels, in the minds of fans who still remember every flurry. And then, just when you think it's over, they return. Even if it's only for one more round. And when they do, the world can't help but watch that the bout between Pacquiao and Barrios draws closer. The energy is electric. Gyms are alive with speculation, debates rage in barbershops, and social media is a war zone of opinions. The veterans swear Manny still has one good war left in him. The younger crowd says it's all just theater for a payday. And in the background, the promoters are counting every click, every view, knowing full well they've struck gold. This is the magic space boxing lives in, the perfect storm of unpredictability, nostalgia, and high-stakes tension. The kind of fight you can't script, because the truth will be written in bruises and sweat that we're at the edge of the moment now. The speeches are done. The sides have been chosen. And all that's left is for the bell to ring. When it does, all the noise fades. The debates, the doubts, the headlines gone. What remains is raw competition. Whether you're riding with the old lion or betting on the young wolf, buckle up. This isn't just a fight, it's a generational collision. In that narrow space between fading glory and rising power, fists will speak louder than words. And when the dust settles, history will decide who truly deserves the spotlight.
Oh, by the way, 2 fights ago for Manny in 2019, he came out of retirement and beat an unbeaten Keith Thurman for the welterweight title at the age of 40. There's very few greats that you can call all-time greats, and I think sometimes even above that category, there's that upper room. Is Manny Pacquiao one of those in boxing history? Sure. But let's look at a couple things. The last thing to go is power, yes. Manny was also absurdly fast in his prime. So like a Roy Jones Jr. who hung on.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more fight breakdowns, and drop your predictions in the comments. Will the seasoned legend shock the world, or will the hungry contender rise to the top? Stick around, because this one's going to be unforgettable.